Hi, I'm Matthew Sleeths, and I live in Wilmore, Kentucky. I was ER physician by training and head of the ER chief of staff where I was, and got a call from God. I was on vacation, and Nancy, my wife, asked, "What's the biggest problem in the world?" I answered that the world's dying. There aren't elms on Elm Street, there aren't chestnuts on Chestnut Street, there's no caribou in Caribou, Maine, there's no buffalo in Buffalo, New York. So I kind of went looking for answers. I didn't have any particular spiritual background at that time. I read through a lot of the world's sacred texts. I read the Ramayana, Bhagavad Gita, Quran. Didn't find the answers I was looking for, and one day picked up a Bible and learned about Christ and was blown away. And that really changed things for me, and I began to think that that was the answer, that Christ had the answer to all problems, including environmental ones. So we began a process of changing our life to try to be more humble in the way that we lived. That involved us moving, me stopping the practice of medicine eventually. And I wrote the book, Serve God, Save the Planet. I've traveled the country over the last couple of years. Particularly, I've spoken 850 times, I think, in the last 24 months around the country at various churches and universities. And I talk about God and the environment, and particularly how God reveals himself through creation, tasks us with caring for creation. I try to tie that to a biblical theology and foundation. I tell people the story of who I am and where I've come from. God speaks to each of us through our individual lives, and that's what we have to share. And I share the process of change, and I share the biblical foundations of that change. We moved to a house that was actually the exact size of our garage. Have you ever seen a doctor's garage? There's nothing to feel bad about. We began to make all kinds of changes, trying to say, how can we be better stewards? How can we be better Christians? How can we follow God's calling?
We hang our laundry year-round. Every time that you hang your laundry on the line, instead of using a dryer, you save 5 pounds of coal from being taken down from the mountains of Kentucky and Tennessee and Appalachia or Wyoming, and you save 5 pounds of greenhouse gases from going up into the skies.
I think the non-Christian world wants to see us act out our faith, whether that's being good stewards of the resources that we have, whether that is caring for creation, or whether that's caring for our neighbor, that we are known by the deeds that we do in Christ's name.
Baird is a little too young to crawl out into the street yet. But if we were to see Baird in just a few months, it'll go faster than you think. Crawl towards the street. And there were traffic coming along. We would run out and give our lives, right? Well, that's not needed. Baird's future, in large part, depends upon us doing tiny acts of service, of changing the way we live. Because the future is not terribly bright in many ways for the world that Baird is going to inhabit, unless we change the way we live now.
We do feel like it's our calling to help the church become not just an agent for change, but to become leaders of the environmental movement. And so the way that we do that is to go from church to church and share the message with as many people as we can.
Just to do this in love, and to do it knowing that God's longest speech in the Bible is to Job. Job and his friends are wrestling with the problem of why bad things happen to good people, and God shows up on the scene and talks about nature. And to realize that God reveals himself through nature, and that it's there for more than just good looks. I think it's there to sustain us in every way, including spiritually.